So you're born in Shropshire. How did you move to Staines come about?
Well, no, I moved to London when I was about 8, and then we live in Isleworth, so into the the sort of more into London, and I just played football at school. I played on a Sunday and played for school on Saturday and played in the week. Played a lot of football, and I played for the borough, and then played for Hounslow Borough, and then played for the county. So I played for Middlesex. Later on, as a right winger, kind of like an orthodox right wing, which doesn't really exist now. I think I could have, in the modern game, I probably would have been a fullback, I think. So not a midfield player, more like a fullback, attacking fullback. And but then it was, give the ball to me, and I was really fast, and I got a really good cross and a good shot, very right-footed. But and then I think I started playing for the borough, that's right, in Middlesex, and there was a club called Feltham Garrison, which I played on a Sunday. They were quite a good side. And I can't remember where Mickey Clark spotted me and said, "Do you want to come and play the Staines Town youth team?" I think that's right. So me and this other lad, Christopher Wheatley, who was spotted at the same time. I think Chris was in the same school as me. So we must have been either playing for Middlesex or playing for the borough of Hounslow. Mm-hmm. And Mickey sort of said, "Oh, would you come down and train?" So we trained on a Tuesday night, and Chris had a motorbike. He had this Honda 444 or something, some mad bike. So I jumped on the back of that and went down and started training with the youth team at Wheatsheaf Lane. And my memory is that there were some training pitches just over the back or just off the ground. And and then they said, "Do you want to play some games in the reserves?" Which I did, and it was great. I think, I remember it. I must have been about, I would have been 19, I think, maybe 20, and we played a few games. I think we played at, I reckon, might have played at Enfield, and maybe Aldershot or Tring. I don't know.
I can tell you where you did play your 6 games.
Oh, it's so exciting.
So the first one, with the stats that they've got, they weren't sure if you actually came on. So they wanted to know if you could remember. It was a home game against Harrow Borough Reserves.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Harrow Borough, yeah.
Then you played 5 away games at Farnborough Town.
Yeah.
Torchbearers in a friendly.
Yeah.
Wembley Reserves, Wycombe Wanderers Reserves, and Kingston.
Oh, yeah.
Reserves.
Yeah. Well, I remember the one Wycombe Wanderers again, because at that time, they had the pitch that they had before then was on a slope, and you may have heard about this, but the slope was not goal to goal; it was side to side, and they started they had kickoff, so they chose the end. And so what they did was they attacked down the hill. So they built their attacks out of the defence, up the hill, the side, so on the right wingers were, and then they attacked literally down the hill. And I think they're about 4-0 up at half time. But then we did the same thing in the second half. We sort of worked it out that the thing to do would be to. So I think what was the score? Did you say what the score was?
I have got the score. It was a 6-1 defeat in the end.
Yeah, so we got one goal. Yeah, so it was 4-0 at half time, 2-1 in the second, 2-1. That's my memory of it.
Yeah, Alan Gregory scored for Staines. Obviously, he went on to be the third highest goal scorer in the club's history in the end.
Oh, did he? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everyone that scored in the games you played in all went on to be pretty decent goal scorers for the club.
Oh, that's good. Well, I'm sure I must have set them up. I'm sure they're all assists.
I was going to say, was it a case of you making them look good to get them into the first team at the time, or?
Always, yeah. I think, they were. yeah, I used to set them up a bit. But that just to finish that story about Wickham, because I did a mockumentary called Bostock's Cup, and that is, I think you sort of get it on YouTube, but it was about a non-league side getting to Wembley and winning, and there's a scene in it where the pitch is like that, and it's a really funny scene. I remember sort of shooting it and telling everybody about my experience at Wickham, and of course they flattened their pitch out, Wickham, and then they never look back. You know? Oh, but that's good to know that some of those boys. I was trying to remember some of the names. I mean, we had a really good centre back called Snow. His nickname was Snowy, and I can't remember his name, whether it was David Snow or we called him Snowy. He certainly had dark hair. So
Martin Snow, I'm going with.
Yeah, Martin Snow. What happened to him?
He later went on to play for Wickham, I've been informed.
Oh, did he? Oh, yeah. Right. Maybe he let a few goals in then. Maybe he was responsible for he was the centre back, so maybe he just let him in and then went on to play for them.
So that was the 82 season. Were you playing in the youth team before then?
No, I wasn't. I don't think I was just playing for the school, and I'm playing in those games, and I was doing my A levels, and I think what happened was I went to drama school, so I went to RADA. But Mickey was really good, because Mickey, when I was playing in the youth team or even in the reserves, Mickey was an SA, so he was an extra supporting artist, and he enabled me to go in and watch. He was working as an SA on a James Bond film, which would have been Shepperton. And I've actually been to that set, and I worked a few times at Shepperton, but I'm trying to think of actually worked on the set where I visited, but he allowed me to come and visit. And so I watched filming of, I think it was Octopussy, and I think the actor was Alain Delon. I think it was Alain Delon, a French actor, rather brilliant French film actor, playing in a casino. And I was able to be in the room watching it happen. And I'm really thankful to Mickey for that, because he, I couldn't believe how sort of quiet they were. They whispered, all lines really whispered. It was all, he brought the camera into you, it was really hushed and quite magical, really. And I think that's always sort of stayed with me in my career. So yeah, Mickey did me a lot of favours there.
Oh, that's excellent. So, like I said, you only had the Harrow game at home. A bit of trivia I've been sent from Steve Parsons was, do you remember why there was only one home game and the rest of them were all away?
I think it was waterlogged, wasn't it?
Yeah,
we had problems with the pitch.
Yeah, the Wokingham Town played the first team and protested that the pitch was unsafe, so it was closed down for a while.
Yeah.
And that's why
it was constantly seeding it. Yeah, it was constantly being seeded. Yep. It was a bit of a mud patch. I mean, I remember I should have scored in that game because we had a really good cultured midfield player. I can't remember his name, but he was pretty good. He had a good touch, and he sort of just chipped the ball over the last line of defence. And I did a run, and he just fouled me. And the keeper came out. I tried to dink it over the goalkeeper, but I overhit it, went over the bar. And I remember going, oh, damn, like that, and swishing my hand on the ground. And it was all sort of gravel. I remember it was all sort of, because it had all been, or seeds or something, sand. It was sand is what it was. There was loads of sand just to try to deal with the pitch. Yeah, that's a shame, really. Yeah. So that's, it's good to know, filling in all the gaps, that's why that happened.
Yes. You got any memories from your time at Staines that stick out?
Yeah, actually, when I was at RADA, when I went to RADA, I wrote a little play, actually. This is all coming back to me now, called Four in the Wall. And it was a tiny little play, and I think we might have done bits of it. I don't know. And it was just some of the writing about some of the characters that I'd met. And I mean, I'll never find it now. And but I do remember our manager at the time was called Bruce. Was it Bruce Butler? Was he called Bruce Butler or Bruce?
I'm not sure. I think. Well, the reserve team manager at the time you were playing was Ian McLean, I'm told.
Maybe it was Ian McLean. I can't remember, but I remember that we played at what I thought was Fleet, but was probably Farnborough, because they're very close to each other. Now you've told me that. And he went at Farnborough Town, I think. The loos were separate. So there was sort of these loo outhouses, like sort of public toilets that we used to find in training ground. And it was absolutely filthy. And it was like a proper sort of trough, you know, where you, and there are all these leaves in there. And, it, you know, and I think it was Ian or Bruce. I think it was Bruce who was the assistant manager anyway. I remember him as Bruce. And he had this sort of bit like that. It was a bit like the character in Withnail and I, if don't you've ever seen that. There's a character that Ralph Brown plays called, he's sort of talking about the Camberwell Coward, who's a kind of drug dealer. Not saying that Bruce was, but and he had this funny, and I remember sort of impersonating him and doing. I remember, and he came back from the loo and he said, "Core, expletive, a lot of expletive, wait, core expletive." Yeah, it's filthy out there, isn't it? The old the loos. I felt like sticking a broom up my arse and sweeping it myself. And then said, "God, I bet there's a few old spangles in that trough, aren't there?" Which the spangles were these lovely little sweets that were fashionable in the 80s. And so like, you know, I don't know where they came from, but people have been eating sweets and chucking in I don't know, yeah, it was all slightly surreal. But yeah, so I mean, I remember that, and I think I remember playing at Harrow. I think I had quite a good game at Harrow, and it was raining. It was absolutely chucking it down, but I kind of liked it. It was sort of warm rain, and you know, it was we you know, I think I don't know what the result was. I think we lost, but I remember playing quite well in that game.
The Harrow game was a 1-0 win.
Oh right, yeah, I remember it as being a good game, and I think I played quite well. I'm hoping that I wasn't the sub. It might have been a sub, I don't know, but and then and I thought that I did go to a first team game. They did ask me to join the squad for a first team game, and I don't know if I got on, but I remember being in the dressing room. I'm sure I was in the dressing room. It might have been imagined, but I think I was. And we had a really good goal scorer, a very tall player. At that time, was the leading goal scorer, I'm pretty sure. And they were all on boot money, so they all got paid. You know, I think they just got 45 quid a week or something. And I don't think I ever got paid. I mean, but quite rightly, I don't think I could be paid anything. But so I remember that. I remember the clubhouse a bit. And I was a bit in awe of it, really. I really wanted to be a footballer. I mean, my connection was that, you know, I'd been at school and been a good player at school, and then we had a teacher who'd come from Wales, and so we did an exchange visit. So Hounslow Borough football team went to play in Wales, in Wrexham, and then Wrexham area boys came and played for us. And while I was at Wrexham, while I played at Wrexham, Mark Hughes played for Wrexham area boys. So this would have been, I think, the under 16s, even under 17s. And it was game was 5-3, and he scored 4 and I scored 3 or 2, and I really had a good day with the left back. It was all pretty straightforward. Give the ball to me and I would just dribble around the back, cross it in, and I used to just score quite a lot as well, because I was so quick. And I got spotted there by Arvin Griffiths, who was he went on to be the Welsh manager. And Wrexham were a very good side at that time. They had Joey Jones, Mickey Thomas, you know, had some good players. Arvin Griffiths and Di Davis, I think, was the goalkeeper. And so they asked me to go and train there in the summer. So I trained with the Wrexham youth team, and then I went back the following year, and I'd broken my leg playing football. I collided with the goalkeeper towards the end of the season around there for the team that I played for on a Sunday, Feltham Garrison. So when I went back the next time to Wrexham, I'd kind of lost. I'd started to do a bit of my education, and I kind of lost the fight a bit. Perhaps, I don't know. I was a bit put off by breaking my leg. It was ugly, the break. But then, you know, I started playing again, and I wasn't bad. And so that's how I sort of got into Staines. And so it was good being at a semi-professional club. I mean, it's two words, isn't it? It's not quite professional, but then again, it is professional. So there is an element of being a professional, which I really liked, hard training, you know, and all that kind of stuff. And I remember there was a lot of knowledge about the players were really good. And I have a feeling that when we played Wycombe or one of the other teams, that they played a lot of their first team players, and they were really good, you know. And I think, you know, you could see the skill, particularly in midfield in those days, just reading the game, knowing the game. So it was nice to be in that sort of group. I mean, our reserve team players had that as well, but they tended to be quite younger, you know, obviously in the first team, you had, you know, seasoned pros, and some probably in their late 30s even, I reckon. So and I wish I'd stayed.
Was it just the acting that got you to move on?
Yeah, I went to RADA, and that was all consuming, and it was difficult really to, you know, you're just so busy in the evenings, either doing plays that you just couldn't commit. But I was a full-time student, and I think I tried for a bit. We did it for a bit, and then, you know, I couldn't go out to Staines. But then, you know, then I played for RADA. RADA had a football team, and we played on a Sunday in the morning in Regent's Park. So that would play against other. So we'd play against other drama schools. And it's funny, you know, Jerome Flynn, for example, was at Central. He was in Game of Thrones. Sean Bean, the actor, you know, he's a Hollywood actor really now, Sean. He was played in those games. And there's all sorts. Linus Roach, who now works in America. John Lynch, Jimmy Nesbitt. We all played. And then we played every Tuesday night. We had a team called the Old Rums that played in Haggerston in the East End, and so all these actors would meet on a Tuesday night and play football, and that went on. That went on for many years, and then I played when I went into EastEnders, which is my first job really. They had a charity football team, so I played a lot of Sundays, charity games for them all over the country against a lot of my heroes, you know. So,
that's excellent. At least you managed to keep up with the football in amongst the acting. Obviously, you've had a very successful acting career since. Do you have any regrets about the football not panning out?
Yeah, I mean, I look at Mark Hughes and I just think, you know,
that could have been you.
Well, it could have been. I mean, I remember him having. He had massive thighs. I mean, he was quite a young. I mean, we were the same age, but he was quite well developed. And a great player, you know. He had a perm, and he was exceptional, and you could see he was head and shoulders above all of us. You know, I suppose it's good to say, I think, that when you're young like that, and I had lots of options, I suppose, even without knowing it, probably, because I liked acting. But I did love football. I picked up a really bad injury on my left knee, which I am now still suffering with. So I've had 3 or 4 operations on that, and I have had a thing called an osteotomy, where they deliberately break the knee below the joint and realign it and put pins in because of arthritis. So I have got arthritis, and I played too many games when I was younger, really. But I got an injury when I think I must have been about 15. And I've never really recovered from that. It was a bone injury, and anyway, it's sort of caught up with me. So I have to maintain that. I do a lot of cycling to keep the legs strong and all that. But if I were to look back, and he's asking me the question about regrets, is that I suppose I wish I'd gone for it more. I wish I'd believed in myself a bit more when I was younger, and just in football terms. And because I'm thinking about in Wrexham, I remember bumping into Nicky Thomas, in the corridor, and went, "Oh," he said, "Oh, yeah, how you doing?" And all right. And I kind of, I was very shy, weirdly. I'm an actor, but I was very shy. So I think because I was shy, I found that hard. And I think I should have really gone for it. I should have just been really focused, and I really loved football. So I think, particularly around 14, 15, I was really, some of the staff were talking about England schoolboys and things, and whether that's true or not, I don't know. But there was talk of that. And I got a bit distracted, and I'm dyslexic. So I had all these other issues at school. So I would say to young people, if you really love it, you just go for it, really work hard at it, and the more you work at it, your game does improve. It really does improve the more you practice. And I'm not saying that I didn't practice, but it's more about the belief, but at Staines, it was a lot of fun. And I just loved I really liked the professional requirement of it all, really taking it seriously.
Yeah. Obviously, I'd say you had a long acting career now. So you started in EastEnders in '87, I think.
Yeah.
You've gone on through plenty of roles through there. What's some of your favourite roles been that you've done since getting into?
Well, Bostock's Cup is worth mentioning. It's only a tiny little thing, but it was fun and in a football vein. Yeah, well, I suppose big hits. Well, The Lost Honour of Christopher Jeffries. That was quite a big deal for me, and I got a BAFTA for that, and that really helped my career. That's only 7-8 years ago, but I'm a kind of character actor, so it was always going to happen later for me, I think. Yeah. Not a leading actor. And then The Crown, obviously Harold Wilson in The Crown. That's such a big show. Line of Duty, again, that was just one really perfect episode with Tandy Newton. Lots of things come to mind. And I worked on stage in my early career. So much work in the theatre. That's how I built my reputation, probably. And then I've been able to do lots of different characters that I played, different sorts of characters I played in the theatre. I've been lucky enough to take that into television, particularly.
And also, you've had a few film roles as well. How was it working on films?
Well, it's nice, isn't it, having the Mickey. The thing is, big television projects like The Crown, they're like films. The budgets are so big, and it's like being on a film set. But yeah, the nativity films have always been fun because the kids' films that I did 3 of those, they're just always incredibly popular. And I'm always on the lookout for a good film. But there's Don Quixote was the last film I did. I did The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, and then Hampstead with Diane Keaton. So I got to work with Diane Keaton, which, my goodness, what a privilege that was.
And you had a role in Tomorrow Never Dies as well. So is that a bit going full circle back to the?
Yeah, no, well spotted. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. Yeah, I had a little part in that years ago, and there was me. Hugh Bonneville was in the scene that I was in. Pip Torrens, who then went on to be in The Crown. The first couple of series were brilliantly in The Crown. And who else? Brendan Coyle, who was in Downton. So yeah, it was just us guys on that. Yeah, I do remember. Yeah, it was weird. I do remember thinking back. Here I am sitting around this sort of table. It was in a submarine with the light coming up, and it wasn't dissimilar to the kind of gloom of the casino that I saw Alain Delon play. No, it wasn't Alain Delon. What was his name? Oh, do you know? I'll find out, and I'll send you his name, because it wasn't Alain Delon. It was, but an equally brilliant French actor of the period. Yeah.
So obviously you've done, like I say, you started out with theatre, you've done film, you've done TV. Do you have any preference on between the 3 of those as your acting career?
No, we've just had this really big hit with McDonald and Dodds, for ITV, where I played this detective from the West Country, and with Tala Gavaya, and it's like a double act, and that's really doing well. So so hopefully, you know, fingers crossed, there'll be some more of those. And that would be good at this point in my life, you know, to be able to have something regular in that way, you know. But you know, I'm lucky there's so much variety out
there. So I'll say you won the BAFTA for The Lost Honour of Christopher Jeffries. How was that for you personally?
Well, that was exciting because it was, you know, it was something that I really enjoyed doing. I mean, it was something that was a labour of love, and it was about something. It's a brilliant piece. Peter Morgan, of course, wrote it. Who went on to write The Crown and all sorts of other stuff. And Damned United, of course, he wrote that about Brian Clough. So yeah, that was really exciting. You know, winning for something that you really put a lot of effort into, and you know, it was a big deal. And it was. I was a bit stunned actually. I was a bit sort of shocked afterwards. I couldn't quite fathom it, you know. But it's a nice place to be because, you know, people, it's from your peers, you know, so they're voting for it. So they, you know, it's nice to know that all of the whole business wanted you to win it, you know. So it does make you think, okay, I've sort of arrived a bit now, and I can just, you know, get the confidence that brings.
Yeah. So back to the football very briefly before we run out of time on it. Do you ever manage to keep an eye out for any of the Staines results, or is it just a bit?
Yeah, I mean, I keep tabs on it. Yeah, but I should do more, really, if I'm honest. I mean, the Cup run a few years ago. In fact, they had another one, didn't they? I mean, they've done well in the Cup. In the FA Cup, that must have been 5 years ago or something like that, when they did so well. So yeah, it's nice to see, you know, the yellow and blue, and you know, I keep a fond eye on it. Yeah.
So if we're going with your time at Staines, do you reckon you could put together a five-a-side team of people you played with?
I'm trying to remember. I remember Andy Loveridge was another player, and he came with me. We knew each other before. Chris and Andy Snowy. I've got 4. How's that?
That'll do. I'll ask you the same question from your acting games. What actors would make the five-a-side great?
Well, Nesbitt is pretty good. He's pretty hot. We're all ancient now, anyway. But yeah, and yeah, I'm trying to think of that team. Yeah, Doug Hodgie was pretty useful. Jason Isaacs, he used to come and play with us as well. Johnny Lynch, he played, and then I mean, actors are psychos as well. You know, you know, they're kind of emotionally complex, put it that way. So you get some fantastic hybrid actor footballers who are kind of psychopaths, really. You know, they like to either inflict pain or weirdly receive it, I think. But you know, kind of emotionally sort of slightly complex, put it that way. So it'd be quite a colourful side. But yeah, Lenny James used to come as well. He played with us. He's a wonderful both actor and filmmaker. So yeah, and I think Paul Greengrass. I think Paul Greengrass, the film director, he played with us for a while as well. So yeah, I could put quite a useful football team together, although they won't be able to run now. So
fine. Well, you got any messages for the Staines Town fans at all? Like to pass on?
Well, I mean, stick at it. I mean, you know, good luck, you know, this year, and I think everybody's really hoping, aren't they, that we come out this pandemic. And I think things like football are the things that we really miss, where we're all together watching something that we love, and football's just, you know, the sort of zenith of that, isn't it? And a local team that you follow in your neighbourhood, I think is quite a wonderful thing, and should be, you know, treasured and prized. And you know, the Premier League, in some ways you could say football's got quite top heavy, isn't it? And I think that a lot of money that's made in the Premiership needs to come filtered down through local clubs like Staines, and you know, outreach programs that they can have into their communities. I think is really important. So you know, you should feel a lot of pride for keeping your club going through this, because it's been tough.
Well, we're going to run out of time in a couple of minutes or so. So I'd just like to say thank you for your time, really.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure to speak with you.
Well, cheers, Billy. I look forward to seeing it, and I'll have